Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy here. Kenneth. It's been a long time. Been a really, really long time since I've done a wrestling video. Um, a lot has changed, a lot has happened. But I'm here to talk about wrestling. Um, this is going to be a really big week. This whole month is going to be pretty big for professional wrestling. But um, starting today, this week, this first week of October at least, is probably, I would say, probably one of the most exciting weeks or things to look forward to in wrestling, at least for me, and I'm pretty sure for a lot of other wrestling fans as well. So let's break it down. Before then, I was going to do a review of AEW's All Out when it originally aired 2 months ago. Life things, responsibilities, just never got around to it because you guys know I like to do pay per view reviews. The day of or the day after it has originally aired. Once some time has passed, at that point, it's kind of like irrelevant. At least how I feel, unless you guys want to hear my opinions on it. But I thought AEW All Out show here in Chicago, I thought it was a solid show. A lot of people were surprisingly kind of mixed on it. Some people was like, it wasn't too great. But I thought it was a good show. I thought it delivered. Despite some few shortcomings, I thought it delivered. Um, and Tony Khan is going to be doing. It's going to be a yearly thing. So All Out is going to be coming to Chicago every year. So that's awesome to hear. Something to look forward to, at least for a wrestling show. Um, but this week, though, a lot of big things are happening. Starting tonight with Raw. So tonight is the premiere episode of Raw or season premiere, whatever. We're getting new logos for both Raw and SmackDown. Um, Apparently, this is kind of like moving from starting from tonight on Raw tonight and moving forward. This is truly going to be the first official steps of the Paul Heyman / Eric Bischoff regime of Raw and SmackDown. Raw is getting completely rebranded announcer team. Jerry Lawler is back, so still going to be a three-man booth, but Jerry Lawler is going to be back with two other fresh new announcers. One of the announcers, or commentators, I should say, rather, is from 205 Live. I don't watch 205 Live that much, but I know it's the black guy, and I know he is a trained wrestler from Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, so he's a Booker T guy. So they snagged him up. He's going to be on Raw along with another guy. I can't forget his name, but I know his face. So it's going to be some fresh, besides Jerry Lawler, there's going to be some fresh faces, some fresh voices for Monday Night Raw moving forward, which I think is really, really interesting. And that's definitely a Paul Heyman movement because Paul Heyman is a youth guy. He is a youth guy, a young generation guy, out with the old, in with the new. There's reports that we're supposed to get Pyro back. So we might see that tonight on Raw. We'll see if those things are true. Raw and SmackDown are also getting new stage sets. We talked about this. I had mentioned this previously before, like a couple months back. That Raw and SmackDown were going to get a facelift in their stage presence. Um, I would think it would be tonight and not next week after the draft. So maybe tonight we'll probably see those new stages. I mean, we got the new logos already, so why not have a new stage to match the logo? So we've got that. We'll see what goes on with Raw. One of the big matches we have is Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio for the Universal title. We know Rollins is going to retain, as he's been having this thing with the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. But that should be a good match enough in itself. I don't remember what else they had announced for Raw. That's really the only thing that has my main message for Raw. Um, then you switch over to Wednesday because there's nothing on Tuesday. So you switch over to Wednesday, and Wednesday is probably the biggest day of the week for me of this wrestling week. You've got NXT is going to be officially filming 2 hours live, whereas before the last 2 weeks, it was like 2 hours, but 1 hour was like live on television, but then that second hour was like on tape delay or whatever, or not tape delay, but was like basically kind of tape delay, but filmed on the WWE network for that second hour. This coming Wednesday, NXT, you will get it in its full glory of 2 hours on USA Network television. The card is pretty stacked. You could probably say it's like equivalent to an NXT Takeover show. Um, got some good things going on there. Then you flip over to the other channel, and airing at the same time, but also debuting, is AEW All Elite Wrestling. We have an official name for the show. It's called Dynamite, AEW Dynamite. Um, it's an okay name. A lot of people hated it when it was first announced. I was just kind of like, what? But it's growing on me a little bit. Wednesday Night Dynamite, I think, just has rolls a little bit better off on the tongue. But they chose Dynamite as their flagship, as the name for their flagship show. I would have been fine if it was just AEW All Elite Wrestling. But whatever. Finally, they've debuted. They're gonna make their debut on TNT. They also have what I feel is a pretty good show. You've got Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. They've announced Pac versus Hangman Page, Adam Hangman Page. We have the crowning of the first women's champion. I believe we have the first tag team match for the tag team qualifying match. I think it's going to be starting tonight. If not, maybe next week. John Mox is going to make an appearance. And then the main event, we've got the Elite, the Omega and Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho and two mystery partners, tag team partners. It's probably going to be LAX. Like, really, who else could there be? There's really no other like free agent hot tag teams out there. So they have a really good show. AEW is probably one of the more interesting things to me to come out of this week, like I said, because all the talk, all the hype, all the build is finally culminating on this debut. They got to knock it out of the park. And not just for the first show, but they got to continuously, do well for the foreseeable future, because now it's time to put your money where your mouth is. Now it's time to, deliver on your promises, deliver on, your execution of your plans. And AEW, they're a startup, so they might make a couple mistakes here and there, but I'm really interested to see the presentation of the show. I'm interested to see the production value and quality of the show. I mean, they have TNT backing them, so I'm sure it's going to be really great. But I'm still interested in seeing how that goes. And then I want to see how is this algorithm of winning and losing scores is going to be implemented into the product. Now, obviously, these things are going to kind of take some time, because I know Tony Khan had mentioned how he wanted to, have like an app or whatever where like fans can follow and have like player stats or whatever, treating it like a legitimate sport. So it'll be interesting to see how all these things come together. I don't think it's all going to be in one night. It's going to probably take multiple like weeks, and things are going to be like tweaked and integrated into the show as we move forward weeks ahead. But definitely for the first show, I'm definitely interested to see the presentation, how they're going to implement this win and loss record. Are they going to have some kind of like storyline? Is it going to be more of like, are they going to have some storyline based, backstage segments? Is it going to be just straight up, wrestling match, and then after that you get to another wrestling match, and after that you get to another wrestling match, no breaks in between? So I'm interested to see the format and the layout of the show and how they produce it. That's my biggest thing. And like I said, I think it's going to be a good show. So I really hope it does well. Then you move over to now Thursday. NXT UK has now been moved to Thursdays. So that's going to be moved on Thursdays. And then regular NXT is also going to be replayed on the network the following Thursday. So for those who are like caught in between, like, which one should I watch? For me, I'm going to be watching AEW live, and I'm going to be recording regular NXT. Or if I don't record regular NXT, I'll watch it the next day on the network. But AEW is going to be my weekly live wrestling show that I'm going to be watching. Unless I really see something that's really interesting on NXT, then I'll record it and I'll watch it within that same day, but later in the night. So yeah, Thursday you have NXT UK, and then this Friday I think it's the second biggest wrestling show this week. SmackDown. SmackDown's moved to Fox. Is officially moving to Fox. This has been planned like a year and a half in advance since we've known about this whole deal between the WWE and Fox. Um, there are going to be quite a few legends that's going to be there. Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be there. I believe, not Candice Michelle. Can't think of her name right now. Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus is going to be there. Quite a few legends are going to be. Goldberg is supposed to make an appearance. Sting is also supposed to make an appearance as well on the show. So SmackDown is going to be a big show, a pretty packed show. I don't know what other matches they have implemented in there, but the biggest thing coming out of this is Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. Brock Lesnar's first televised match on a weekly WWE show in the last like 15 years. Um, and on the top of that, Brock Lesnar is on SmackDown. So that's going to be really interesting to see. I definitely think Kingston's title run has come to an end, and it will come to a breaching halt when he goes up against an impenetrable wall known as Brock Lesnar. I know a lot of people kind of liked or disliked Kingston's run. I think Kingston's run as WWE champion from a length perspective was good. He's had some good matches. I think they've done everything they could to build Kingston up and build him up strong. Kingston's been a far better champion than, say, like, Jinder Mahal when he's had the WWE Championship for, an extended period amount of time. Um, there were just things I wish that they had changed in Kingston's character. I just kind of wished the whole, you know, Lucky Charms, unicorn, pancake, and rainbows thing. I wish they had kind of toned that down. I kind of wanted a little bit more of a serious, edgier Kingston. And that's not to say that probably can't happen in the future. And Kingston, somewhere down the line, might regain the WWE Championship. But I'm not holding my breath and him getting a second run with the belt on top of a character change. So I think Brock is going to win this. I mean, like I said, the romance of Brock Lesnar being heavyweight champion, it's kind of somewhat getting a bit dull. But it's like, really, who else do they really have? They really don't have any other big stars right now. Fox wants big stars. Fox wanted Brock Lesnar, and they also wanted Ronda Rousey too. So they're getting Brock Lesnar. He's the biggest star in their company, bar none, whether you like it or not. That's just facts. So at this point, Brock's getting the belt for how long? I don't know. At this point, I'd probably say the WrestleMania because we're already in the fall. So we'll see. And then you go over, fast forward to Sunday. You have WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I don't really think there's anything that's really too interesting out of that pay-per-view so far. In my opinion, there's really nothing that grabs me other than the main event between The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship in a Hell in a Cell match. The Fiend is probably one of the hottest characters right now in wrestling and all the wrestling. He's over. People love him. It's definitely rejuvenated Bray Wyatt's career. WWE doing the smart thing and, seeing a rocket and, seeing the potential in Bray's new character, his new gimmick, and striking while the iron is hot, I guess. Some people may think it's too soon, but it's kind of like, at this point, how is it really too soon? I mean, at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's a new gimmick for Bray Wyatt, but it's still Bray Wyatt. And Bray Wyatt has been in WWE for like 5 or 6 years now, maybe 7 years at this point. He's been in the company for a while. People know who Bray Wyatt is. He's not, going from Bray Wyatt to say like, a completely new persona. It's a new gimmick, but it's still Bray Wyatt. Like, if you like, you know what I mean? Like, his name hasn't changed. It's just a new twist to the Bray Wyatt persona. A brand new twist to the whole Bray Wyatt persona. So for a lot of people who think that, WWE are kind of hot-shotting it a little bit too soon with giving him a title match and quite possibly even winning it, I disagree with that. The guy's paid his dues. He's the hottest character right now. Feed it. One of the biggest problems with WWE is that when they see potential and they see something that's, hot or whatever, they sit on it and they wait. And by the time they, give in or give the guy the belt or whatever when they should have, the wrestlers cooled off, the storylines cooled off. It has no meaning, and it's like useless. So this is one of those few times I'm going to side with the WWE and against the fans and say like, hey, strike while the iron is hot. The guy is over. Do it. So you have Wyatt versus Rollins the Sunday for the Universal Championship, and then so like I said, big week every day. Pretty much is a big week. Now you fast forward past this first week of October, looking in the bigger grand scheme of things, you have Impact Wrestling, who's also been making some player moves. I was going to talk about this before. I briefly talked about it, but I didn't talk about it in depth. But at this point, I think everyone knows, or anyone who cares to know, Impact Wrestling is now moving to Access Television. They've actually worked out a deal with Mark Cuban and I believe Steve Harvey Global Entertainment in buying out Access TV. Impact will be moving to Access TV on Tuesday nights every on October 29th. October 29th, they'll make the official move. Starting, I think tomorrow, actually, they'll be like replaying like one of their older pay-per-views for the next like 2 weeks on Tuesday. Then you have Bound for Glory, their biggest pay-per-view of the year, on October 20th. And then that following week, the 29th, Impact will officially debut on Tuesdays. So after October, wrestling is going to get really, really busy. I mean, like I said, you have Monday Night Raw. Tuesday, you're going to have Impact on Access. Wednesday, you're going to have NXT and AEW. Thursday, NXT UK. Friday, SmackDown. And then, over the weekend, you've also got New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I still watch hardcore. New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, which has not been doing well at all. Ring of Honor, NWA just announced that they'll be doing their official YouTube series. And you also have Major League Wrestling, MLW, which has also been really great. And they air their stuff on YouTube as well. So really, really, really big week, big month, big season, fall, moving forward for professional wrestling. It's really exciting. I can't help but to think, with all these different options, like I said, the Raw, the SmackDown, the NXT, the AEW, and, even the MLWs and the NWAs in between and the Impacts. It is somewhat a little concerning that you kind of think that maybe the market might be a little bit too oversaturated. Because like I said, we've never had this many wrestling options. The wrestling options we have now coming to us via television screen, and say the internet, YouTube and other platforms. We have more wrestling options now than we had during the Monday Night Wars. This is kind of like going back to the territorial days, but in a digital age. Kind of, that's what it kind of seems like. But it's interesting. I'm all for it. I definitely think the biggest question is that with all these wrestling options, are there enough wrestling fans, not casual, but wrestling fans to support all these wrestling companies? Someone's going to go down. At the end of the day, some of these wrestling companies are going to fail. Other wrestling companies are going to thrive. WWE are on a mountaintop on their own, so they're set. They are not going to go anywhere. But for the Impact is kind of somewhat set too now. They found a new TV deal, better TV deal. Like I said, the product has been good for Impact Wrestling. I know a lot of people have given up on it, don't watch it anymore. But the product for Impact Wrestling has been good over the last 2 years. And, they're making strides. And they have a good roster themselves. I will give them that. A lot of people give them credit for that. But, it's going to be an interesting thing to see with all these options. There's not really a lot of talent at this point, free agent talent to kind of like go around, from this place to that place to that place. It will be interesting to see who goes where, because everyone who's in their respective companies aren't going to be there for long. There's probably going to be some people from AEW that will go to WWE, vice versa, or Impact going to AEW, WWE, or vice versa. It's going to happen. So I think the biggest key thing moving forward with all these different options is the market kind of being oversaturated, and will there be enough wrestling fans to support all of these wrestling companies? Um, and all these wrestling companies are in competition with each other. They're going to be at the bits, for fans' attention, for talent. But despite all these things that I'm thinking about from a business perspective, this is probably the best time to be a wrestling fan. In my opinion, the best wrestling time ever, and which to me is still what is ever, is the Attitude Era / Monday Night War days. That was the best time to be a wrestling fan. We are about to enter another wrestling boom period, I feel, in my opinion. And I think that this is just as much as a good time to be a wrestling fan now since the Monday Night War days, which was like 19 years ago. Damn, that's a long ass time. But it is what it is. So you guys let me know what you think about all the different wrestling options this week, starting tonight, kicking off with Raw. I hope the show is better and good. And even next week is a big week for WWE because they're doing the draft again. I know it's kind of like really another draft, but finally we'll get rid of that wild card rule bullshit, and it'll be a permanent draft. So hopefully they'll stick with it again for maybe another 2 years, and they'll scrap it again like they've done twice already. But despite all that, should be an interesting week next week, even for WWE for the draft. So we'll see moving forward, starting tonight on Raw. What are you guys looking forward to? What are you going to be watching out of all these wrestling shows? I want to know your thoughts in the box below. Like this video, comment, subscribe. Peace.